if you succeed in Indy next, you have the speed. You have the speed. But until you do an IndyCar race, an IndyCar season, there's a lot of things you won't be able to optimize until you do it. Like you haven't done pit stops. You don't know what is it to be finishing a stint on all tires, no fuel. And so they're going to have, things to learn. And that's why maybe going to a team that, of course, they want to perform and they expect it to do great, but it's not the same situation you were talking about with Malukas at Penske, that there is the added pressure that you are expected. Sorry, dude, if you skip, a couple years to get here, somehow good for you, but I don't care. You are expected to deliver. You're not here to learn.
Welcome to the RACER Debrief. I'm Lawrence Foster. I'm joined by RACER editor David Melcher-Lopez and the return of a very special guest. We have Oriol Servia in the house again.
Yeah.
Oriol, welcome to the Debrief.
My pleasure. You must have good coffee.
Yes.
We don't have any coffee. But what we do have is basically a nearly fully formed 2026 NTT IndyCar Series grid. I want to just go for a few things with you. Firstly, how do any of the other teams basically catch up with this lean, mean fighting machine that is the number 10 Chip Ganassi racing car with Alex Palou at the wheel? What do they need to do? What does the number 10 team need to keep on doing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're all scratching their heads, right? It was such a dominant performance of the whole number 10 Ganassi, Alex Palou group. I mean, even Scott, that is right there, I'm sure has been scratching his own head like, wait, how did that happen that way? I'm sure Alex knows all he has to do is just do the same again, which the same only means work as hard and dedicate yourself and have as much or as little expectations as he had last year to do it. And it worked. They have a very solid group. I know them really well. I've known them for a long time. That same solid group has not put those performances before the way they did last year. So obviously everything came together in a very good way. And Alex made all the right choices when it counted. They're going to be the guys to beat. There's no question. It wasn't a fluke. Everyone needs to work really hard, but I think we are going to have a little more movement at the top of the podium. Mm-hmm. Again, it's going to be really hard for those guys to execute as perfect as they did. And then you have the other teams, if we want to start getting into it, that either are having internal changes or last year they were in the process, like Penske, right? Mm-hmm. They had extremely odd headwinds, let's put it this way, in a simple way. Not only from the mess or disqualifications in Indy, but what that meant, like the number 1, 2, and 3 of the team that have been running that team for 25 years out. That was as big of a bump as you can have in an organization than any other team can. And the fact that they still kind of like, I mean, Will still won and Joseph won again at the end.
Yeah, end of the season felt like this was Team Penske.
They were coming back. Yeah. So and we have to remember the IndyCar season schedule is so crazy. It's like once you're in the summer, it's like one race after the other. It's not like you can even have a break. Okay, let's have a kumbaya team and let's recess. They didn't have time. So they still got back. So, they had now a winter and management, I think, I mean, I'm not there, but I'm pretty sure they've worked hard to organize and refocus. And, it's been the reference team in the last 25 years for many reasons, right? So I'm sure they're going to be back strong and fighting for wins every weekend.
Hi, quick timeout to tell you about something special. You are going to want to visit racer.com/bundle. RACER just dropped a bundle for real motorsports fans. It includes RACER Plus, the new streaming home for everything from WRC and Dakar to DTM, Crandon, the Isle of Man TT, drifting, and even these podcasts, all in one place. You name it. This is a full spectrum of racing, from grassroots to global, off-road to electric, 2 wheels or 4, and it's a spectacular deal. Head to racer.com/bundle to sign up now. All right, back to the show. Well, on the Penske side, we lose Will Power at Penske. We'll go on to Will's new gig in a couple of minutes, but David Malukas becomes the third Penske driver along with Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden. What are you sort of expecting from that, given that Malukas maybe comes into not the sort of plug-and-play team that it could have been in prior seasons?
It's going to be difficult to directly compare how he performs, because Dave Faustino is now moving deeper into the engineering group and will no longer be the number 12's race engineer. He is going to remain as its strategist, though, interestingly. But yeah, he's going to be heading up R&D, and I'm shocked that Ben Bretzman's also moving one step away from that as well, because I think he and McLaughlin have been very, very effective as well. We don't know yet about number 2, but I believe Luke Coombs is going to stay involved on that side. But I think, going back to your point, Malukas can certainly put it together for a race weekend. I think we have seen that. He can still make errors, but I mean, hell, even the veterans can if you're trying to catch Alex Palou. I think he can certainly get podiums almost straight off the bat. I think he could cause some surprises. I am yet to be convinced by his mental fortitude, which I think he's going to need, because Joseph and Scott are quite a psychological barrier. They're proven winners anyway. Joseph's a proven double champion and double Indy 500 winner. They're not going to give him an easy ride at all. And I don't know if David can necessarily cope with that. I mean, we've seen him come back from adversity when he had a broken hand at Laguna Seca. I thought that was absolutely ballsy of him to come back at probably the track that you'd least want to come back with a broken hand at Laguna Seca. So I admire him for that point of view. We know he can be fast over a lap. We saw him, take a front row slot at Detroit last year, and obviously he did very well at the 500 as well. And the way Louis Foster took him out in the season finale was outrageous. I did feel for him there, but.
Well, what constitutes a good season for David Malukas?
I mean, getting his first win.
Right.
I think that's as much as we can expect, bearing in mind Will and Joseph only got 1 win apiece last year.
Yeah.
If David can get that early, then I think that will really psychologically boost him. But I think the pressure on him is very strong considering who he's up against.
This is RACER, your all-access pass to the best in motorsports, performance, and car culture. Get RACER Plus for live races, extended highlights, breaking news, and fan-favorite build and enthusiast shows, all in one place. From Formula Drift to off-road mayhem.
A full-blown nail-biter.
Supercars to grassroots brawls. Garages to rare collectors. Stream it all, anytime, anywhere. This is about machines and the people who move the culture forward. And when the screen fades, the story continues in RACER Magazine, a collectible trusted by champions, creators, and connoisseurs. Every page, a deeper dive into the soul of speed and performance. RACER Plus and RACER Magazine, the ultimate bundle. Built for the obsessed Powered by passion.
And then obviously a guy who you have some connection with, Will Power, moves to Andretti. What does Will bring to Andretti? What do they lose by Colton Herta going to Formula 2? But overall, where do you think Andretti is heading for 2026?
I mean, I think by choice you would not get rid of Colton, right? It's obviously he's super talented and dedicated, and you would add Will, not a if you could choose. But anyway, Colton's going into the big challenge, which is we talked about it at the last episode, and I think it's going to be super interesting to see how he does. Will brings a lot, starting with who is Will. Will is an obsessed human that all he thinks about is about driving better than yesterday and how can the car help me drive better than yesterday is all he thinks about. And that's what's made Will Power the last 17 years, right? That hasn't changed. I know that for a fact. And that energy, that fire, doesn't matter if he's 40-something or 20-something, is the same. And wherever you go, any team, you bring that to the table because that's what he is. And same with my boss, Fernando Alonso, right? That's what always has defined these two characters. They're just so driven, so competitive. So that's the first thing. Then he obviously brings 17 years of knowledge of the work he has done developing the Penske car. He was, I would say, one of the drivers that had the biggest influence on how that him and Dave Faustino really evolved the setup of those cars, even the oval car. So he does have the knowledge of how that car feels. And I mean, they only get 2 test days before the beginning of the season, that's crazy. It's really like so limited testing for everyone to even imagine rookies. Like that's what we're going to talk about, the rookies. But it's such a tough competitive series, and then you only have 2 test days to get used to a new car or a new team or new IndyCar if you come from IndyNext. So I think he's going to bring a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge and hunger, and for his teammates, Kyle and Marcus, like everyone wants to see like where do I stack up compared to this, the guy with more pole positions in history. Like everyone has self-confidence, but you want to see like, and I know those guys very well too, Kyle and Marcus. They're good teammates. They're gonna work well together. They know they need to improve the team. The team, they won races last year, but not to the level of Palou, and they haven't won a championship in decades, right?
That's right.
The team knows they have to improve, and they're going to be listening some more to Will than if he was a rookie, obviously. And when Ron starts working there January 1st, he also comes with knowledge from the last 17 years that him and Will worked together at Penske, right? So that team, we should see, I don't know if we should expect some Pete, performance immediately, although they were fast in street races already.
I was going to say, yeah, I think we should.
But I have a lot of confidence in a lot of the engineers that work at Andretti. I always keep naming Craig Hampson, but you guys know I'm a big fan. The way he works, and the whole group there. So I think they've been given the tools. So we just need to hope they make the right choices and they move forward.
I think another interesting aspect is that Andretti won't be distracting, to the best of my knowledge, they won't be distracting themselves with the 4th entry at the 500 with Marco's.
There's breaking news.
That was part of the deal.
There's breaking news.
Yeah. But
don't break my heart.
Marco's retirement, sorry to see him go. I'm glad he at least made a mark with that famous runner-up finish in 06 and that famous pole in 2020 in front of the empty grandstands, which is still a sickening sight, actually, seeing the empty grandstands for the 2020 500. But just want to say he's a good guy, and and he was always brutally honest with himself. And I really, really appreciated that as a journalist interviewing him. And so, yeah, I'm sorry to see him go. But
with himself, if I can interrupt,
yeah.
and with the other drivers too, always.
Yes.
Marco was always aggressive on track, but as honest as it comes, and that's not easy.
Absolutely.
Especially because you know who he is, but just on any driver, not many are as honest as he always was.
Yeah, exactly. And one of his former teammates has been announced as fourth McLaren driver, Ryan Hunter-Reay, which I think is very exciting because it was absolutely heartbreaking watching him and Brian Reinbold not get the opportunity to fight out the closing stages last year. That was just so upsetting because I really wanted one of those results that people remember forever, like Dan Weldon winning for Brian Herter Autosport. Yeah. I just think if Brian Reinbold had finally got that win there, and I think Hunter-Reay would have retired happy on the spot. I don't think he'd have defended his crown. It just said it's
you're
not
right,
and
they had the speed. They were at the right place at the right time. Just unfortunate again that race. But yeah, I would have been really happy for them too. You know,
well,
it's one of my best 500 was with them still.
Yes.
Fourth. So. I do have they're a great group of people, and they only show up for the 500, awesome. Which is so hard.
Yes,
you're competing against the other teams.
Well, pair of you have brought us onto McLaren then.
Yep.
Yeah.
We used to talk about the big three. We've got the big four, I guess you could say, with Arrow, McLaren, but we need surely Arrow, McLaren to be big four every weekend, as opposed to be big four on some weekends. I mean, you look at the lineup there of Pato O'Ward and Christian Lundgaard. I mean,
super.
Those are two championship contenders, but they've basically got to be championship contenders for 17 races.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
I'm surprised that I'm still surprised at the way Zach Brown sometimes. Not Zach Veach. Sometimes only gives personnel a certain amount of time. Like, if Ganassi has proven anything, and they've proven a lot, its continuity really gets results. And I'm shocked that they bring in Brian Barnhart. Now Barnhart's going. Carl Sagan's gone. They're both going to Rahal, which I think is great for Rahal. But I'm still shocked that how readily McLaren change up and change out. And Hunter-Reay, obviously, it's great to have someone of that experience coming in for the 500. But as results have shown recently that Alonso, Montoya, and Larson, they're right up there, but they don't quite get the result that we all wish a fourth McLaren could possibly achieve. Hunter-Reay can change it, I do believe. In fact, he could lead them. But I just fear that they're going to end up with like second, third, and fourth or something.
But for full season, one of the things. No, that's perfect in terms of the Indy 500. Crikey, it's the other biggie. But full season, Lundgaard seems to have raised Pato O'Ward's game.
Yeah.
Far from phasing the guy, this seems to be the kind of the double act that has brought out even more of Pato O'Ward. I mean, would you agree with that? Or
even more, to your point, because I think many people were like, you see, Lundgaard is talented, he puts the work, smart guy. Pato, be careful, right? Last year, at least I was thinking that. And Pato elevated, yes, they both elevated, but Pato stayed up there more than Lundgaard. So he's doing his homework too, so...
I think Will Anderson is also a great force for Pato. I think maybe he gave Pato a bit too much leeway at first, but I think Will Anderson is he's like the man with two brains. He's just brilliant. Really, really great race engineer.
It's tough, like the same we're saying, and you're absolutely right about the consistency, the lack of consistency weekend after weekend of McLaren, but was the same with Andretti, was the same with Penske.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was the same with everyone else but the 10 car, even Dixon.
Yeah.
My point is only Alex and the 10 group were able to. A bad weekend was third. Like, like
Yeah.
no one else. It's
Yeah.
not just one team that didn't get it right. It was very hard for all teams to. It's so tight.
Yeah.
You will see that in Formula One too. All of a sudden, Mercedes understands the tires that weekend, and they're fighting for the win.
Yeah.
And if not, Ferrari sometimes like they're there, and then the others one are not. It's like racing is getting so competitive, and they're all getting so good at optimizing whatever package.
Yes.
That if you are a little bit off, 3 other teams are optimizing it better than you, and you're not third. You're 15 on the grid, and it happens. Like, it's so amazing. As a fan of the sport, I'm having a better time. I was gonna say since I haven't officially retired. That's why I was saying that
This
earlier.
is said in every single podcast.
I know. I mean,
he's already got himself.
I thought
in the
team
Indy
owners
500.
would listen to you guys, and no one's calling. My point is, there's never been a better time to be retired and watch racing because I'm enjoying it so much. I think it's the best product, both F1 and IndyCar, and MotoGP always has been, in my opinion, to watch. And IMSA too. IMSA is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I'm not surprised we're getting better ratings than ever because the actual product is good. Yes, we've had good marketing tools out there, Drive to Survive, the movies, everything, but because the product is good.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing then. IndyCar, two more teams, actually 3 more teams to put out there based on everybody getting a shot on a particular weekend. Shank Racing and AJ Foyt. Now, not a coincidence that both of them are aligned with powerhouse teams, but 2 teams that appear to be making the most of it. I mean, MSR to me seems to be a team on the verge of a pretty significant breakout.
I hope so.
You've got Foyt where no longer, it doesn't feel like they're hitting above their weight. It feels like Foyt are genuinely, contending.
Yeah.
But the one I want to sort of look at then as a counterpoint to that is, you've already mentioned them, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Yeah. Where they go in 2026.
I think they showed hope last year.
Yeah.
They showed speed. We're talking about not being consistent. They were definitely not consistently fast, but they were fast. Graham did an amazing race at Indianapolis at the road course. Wasn't Foster and Paul?
He was.
Somewhere like that. The speed was there.
Road America.
Yeah. In the proper tracks.
Yeah.
So they have areas they need to improve. As you guys know, also I'm a fan of some of the people that are there. It's been a family, for me. So again, they just need to get it right more often than not, or than the other teams. It's not an easy quest to achieve.
They had a bit of a transition going on as well in terms of factories and things like that as well.
Factories and Jay Fry taking over, and I think he's done a lot of good stuff, good changes, and I expecting them. I don't know how high, but I'm expecting them to definitely be contending more often than they were last year.
Yeah.
Shank Racing, AJ Foyt, where could they be in 2026? We've got the Ferrucci there, the pocket rocket. We've got it where, Shank seems to be a team where, given the right circumstances, they've got to be winning a race.
Definitely. I mean, Felix was not that far behind Palou at Road America. I think he finished 2.5 seconds behind him. Actually, Shank's issue, I feel, in the past, and it's one of the reasons Jack Harvey left, which turned out to be a dreadful decision, but one of the reasons he left was tactically, they always seemed a bit lead-footed.
Right.
And, you don't see that in the really big teams. Actually, Ganassi did mess up Toronto tactics last year, but it's very, very rare for them to do that.
They had to give something to everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And Palou, gladly grabbed it. But I think that their technical savvy is right up there. And, of course, they're getting a lot of it from Ganassi. I think they are beneficial. I feel it. Both Felix and Marcus Armstrong can definitely be race winners. Yeah, I mean, Felix has got the pace. That Long Beach pole that he got, was it just this past year or a year before? year before, I think. Was just exceptional. And yeah, I think it would only take another win to give them the self-confidence to, oh yeah, I can get this done. I think they're both kind of, I hate to say that they're almost too nice to be championship contenders, but I feel like Felix and Marcus Armstrong need that psychological boost of, regularly getting podiums or regularly or occasionally winning, to then think, oh yeah, I am up with these guys, because they are both really talented guys. I think they sometimes get down on themselves.
We mentioned Louis Foster, 2025 Rookie of the Year, at a kind of out of sorts Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing.
Yeah.
Let's move to the 2026 rookies, and we've got the 1-2 from Indy Next moving in there. We've got the a highly touted duo of Dennis Hauger, Norwegian, and we've also got it where Caio Collet, Brazilian, has moved up as well. Both of them into rides where, I don't know, does it sort of give them the time and space to grow into it, or could we, given they've got such chops, could we see some standout performances from those two as rookies?
I think Dennis, for sure. Now that Dale's aligned himself with Andretti Autosport, I think that's Andretti Global. Jesus, that was a throwback. I do apologise. But yeah, now that he's aligned with Andretti Global, or one day Taurus Global, I think that's definitely going to be a huge boost to Coyne. And I think he's going to shine. And I don't know this, but I assume he's being lined up to replace Ericsson in 2027. But yeah, I think he absolutely can shine. I mean, when Dale's cars are good, then I feel that they do start punching above their weight on a regular basis. It's almost like what I was just saying about Armstrong and Rosenqvist, that they almost need to know that they're good, and then they become regularly good. Remember, like when Justin Wilson drove for them, or Mike Conway or Sebastian. Yeah, they're like, oh, damn, we can be winners. And I think that will help Dennis a lot. I think he's exceptional, because I don't just think he's fast. I think he's got a lot of brain power as well. And Caio Collet wasn't that far behind him in Indy Next in the end. So, yeah, I think he can shine as well.
To me, and you started with Louis Foster, right? Louis Foster was the Indy Next champion in 2024 and was a worthy step up, in IndyCar with, Rookie of the Year and pole, and did a great season. Indy Next, years after decades, shows that whoever wins is worth it of the next step.
Yeah.
I can talk from my experience and what I've seen through the decades. When you jump from Indy Next to, if you succeed in Indy Next, you have the speed. So we're going to see the speed from Caio. We're going to see the speed with Dennis. Dennis with Coyne and the Andretti partnership. They should have good cars.
Yeah,
Caio, I assume Foyt is gonna have a technical partnership with Penske like it had until last year. So those cars were good. I mean, Malukas outperformed the Penskes often. I mean, many times last year. So the team did a good job. It wasn't just David. So Caio is going to have a good car and good team underneath him. I expect a lot from him. And the speed is there, but until you do an IndyCar race, an IndyCar season, there's a lot of things you won't be able to optimize until you do it. Like, you haven't done pit stops. You don't know what is it to be finishing a stint on old tires, no fuel, and coming in, putting cold tires, like no other championship does that. Cold tires, full tanks out, and you have to push because you have someone coming on hot tires. Until you do that, you cannot experience it, right? So there's a lot of things that go from being a fast driver to being race winning contender to championship winning contender. And we've seen with all of them. That's why when someone arrives, no matter if they come from Formula One, but they're able to execute and be contenders in the championship, it's like, wow.
Yes.
It's like mega because you know how many things they had to do right. It isn't just driving fast. It's like MPG. They're never, until you get to IndyCar, you never have to really drive and save fuel. And be faster or as fast as you were when you were using all the fuel and manage push to pass. And Indy Next now they have push to pass, so they start, at least that they have. But there's a lot of things they need to experience for the first time. Red tires or primaries, or I don't know how we call them anymore, going into qualifying. Usually when you change tire from the last run, maybe you do 50 more pounds of rear spring because that's the feeling you got in the last race with the Reds. And, it's like little things that until you do it, you cannot get good at it. So they're going to have, things to learn. And that's why maybe going to a team that, of course, they want to perform and they expect it to do great, but it's not the same situation you were talking about with Malukas at Penske, that there is the added pressure that, yes, you are expected to deliver. You're not here to learn. When you get into one of the top 4 that we're talking about, you are expected. Sorry, dude, if you skip, a couple years to get here, somehow good for you, but I don't care. You're here to deliver 10 out of 10, and that's what I think. Being in those teams is going to give them a chance to absorb some of the things that they need to.
And I think it's important that they do get a second year, because forever I will hold up the example of Scott McLaughlin. In 2021, he was not on the pace of Will and Joseph.
Absolutely.
And primarily it was because he was struggling to get the most out of red tires.
Stickers,
and him and Brexman just worked their nuts off that winter, and boom, McLaughlin comes and takes pole at St. Pete and wins the race.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, okay, was that a one-off? And then he just suddenly he's up with his 2 teammates for the rest of the year. And I'm like, okay, he's broken through. And I think that's why it's really important to not judge a rookie just on their rookie season. I think they need to have that second season.
I wonder at this point, obviously you've got the team environment where a rookie comes into it. He's absorbed into that team. The team is the team. It works as it does. Oriol, from your perspective, as a guy who is heavily involved in management now, A14 specifically, as you alluded to before, your boss being none other than a certain Fernando Alonso. But in terms of you and your portfolio in the US, and that includes obviously Will Power, it also includes Niels Coulinan, it includes Brad Majman, guys at different stages in their career who obviously go into teams work as teams work. What are you bringing to it from the management side? What are you bringing to them in terms of developing them? Almost like a duty of care as you sort of move them through. Just give us that side of it from your perspective.
Yeah, it's a little bit all of that, and I think every agency or agent is a different story. A14. I think it's only a 3-year-old company, right? And it's Alonso, but it's basically 3 partners. Alonso, Albert, and Alberto. The 3 of them were teammates in go-karts 30 years ago, right? So they go back a long time. Alberto has always been Fernando's right-hand man at every race. And Albert was the actual professional manager for 20 years. He was the only one that actually did the job that we're all doing now. But he knows the industry well. And their hope or their goal as a company is just to stay small. They want to, I think total we may have 16, 17 drivers. I oversee the US, the 3 guys you said, a couple more in IMSA that we're going to announce soon. But it's a little bit different in each case, right?
Right.
What do you hope to help? At the end of the day, you just hope that you guide them through the next steps or what they're doing now so they can do the best version of themselves. And that means, hey, you need to spend longer time talking to the engineer after the race or on Wednesdays. If I see that, I'll say that, right? not so much driver coach. Each one has a driver coach that is better than what I can see from the track, like the proper professionals. And with the teams too, right? At the end of the day, we provide drivers that we believe in, that they're talented, that we double, triple check. They obviously have the right budget to do the program they're doing. So that's what the team relies on us as A14. They know we do know what we're talking about. We've been around racing for a long time. And for me, selfishly, it's been a great experience to go back in the sense of when I drove IndyCars for many years, you just focus on trying to do the best you can that season. And you don't even look at Indy Next. You don't look at anything else. You just don't have time. You should be focused on what you're doing. Now, it gives me the opportunity to check, what are all the steps really to go from go-karts to an IndyCar? I came to do Indy Lights, and it's the first time in my life I realized I could make a living out of this if I won Indy Lights, right? Now Indy Next. That's amazing. Like not even in F2 you can say that, right? So the US has that. Every Indy Next champion has a shot, and many perform well, and teams know it. That's why they hire them. And before that, you have USF, 2000 Pro, 2000 Juniors. It's expensive. It's the unfortunate thing of the sport. It always has been. You have families that need to fund the career of their kids, and they manage somehow. Some are wealthy themselves. Many find ways, like many of us did, doing 1,000 PowerPoints and going door to door and finding some of the budget and the kid, putting all the effort. So
or remortgaging the house, or
they're true stories, and I sometimes it's our job as an agent to say, dude, you understand that it's not just 1 year you need to come up with $500,000. It's
and with the pinnacle getting ever smaller in terms of where you go to the next thing.
So when it's so expensive, it makes sense to have someone that at least knows the sport, that tries to guide you through the teams, through where you put the effort and stuff, and that's what we try to do.
Did you have a figure like yourself in your career?
I did only in my last year of Indy Lights, when I was about doing the championship to do the step up. Yep, I did. I had only a couple of managers through my career. Julian Jacobi was one. With Adrian Sussman, so same as Weldon and Dario and all that. And then I went with Will Prappes, who was a business manager for a long time with Jimmy Vasser. And so
a lot of your role is obviously you've got the kid who wants to race, who wants to move through the ranks. You've got the parents who are supportive, maybe financially supportive, but you're the guy who has to optimize the situation. You're the guy who has got that institutional knowledge of where you should go, who you should go with. I guess that sort of has its sort of good side and bad side in terms of you being the guy who has to make these decisions on behalf of a driver and his family.
Yeah, it's a responsibility, but it's one that you welcome because you've been there, and it's tough. And everyone has good intentions, but especially in racing when it's expensive and things can go wrong, it's, experience helps. And I, just this year I had not the greatest experience of one team where I had a driver and not to be mentioned, but it's just unfortunate how, it's easy sometimes to take advantage of families that are new to the sport and are just trusting that a team will fulfill with the best intentions what was agreed to start with. And sometimes it's sad to see that some teams take advantage of that situation. So we try to at least choose the right teams or put the right message out, and that's what the teams knows too. Hey, they cannot completely bullshit us because we've been around,
right?
And as you know, myself, I've been to only in IndyCar 14 teams, right? So I've seen it all.
Yeah, but
we always mention the number of teams, Oriol.
Yeah,
there's 3 recurring themes. That's the second one.
I'll stop.
Yeah, but this shifting goalpost syndrome that. You didn't read this small print. Is that prevalent throughout teams where they do try and
No.
Move it around or?
No, I would say, I think I know where you're going. I would say most teams truly, it's tough. It's a tough business, right?
Yeah.
Because especially in IndyCar or the higher you go, the budgets are bigger. So teams have a little more margin if something goes wrong. When you are in a USF 2000 team, if you have one parent of your 5 clients that doesn't pay for whatever reason, maybe because the kid crashed, they don't have the money. I'm not even saying there's ill intent, but if you have one of your 5 customers not paying and your margins were already like 3% or 5%, it's tough. It's a tough.
Yes.
I actually applaud all team owners of the smaller series because it's expensive, but it's expensive for them to run too. They have to have mechanics, travel around the country, like, you know. So it's not an easy business, and I say I know most of them. Their intention is the right intention. It's just, you know, like in everything else, there's a couple of bad apples out there. And all I'm going to say is, and it's something I think it took me a long time, even in my personal business stories, all I can say to parents, don't ignore red flags, right? When you're meeting with someone and there's a couple of things you try to, even what's on the contract, fight the contract hard first.
Yeah.
Like the hardest you can fight the things, so the more clear they become. And if you see that someone has a problem, like putting words into what they mean and how, then that's the red flag. That's where you're going to have a real issue. So,
but isn't the downside of that the unscrupulous team owner can also, oh, they screwed me down to this price, then this kid's only going to get this engineer, and you know, the less experienced engineer, the less qualified mechanic. And so they end up, you know, it's almost like a...
Yeah, but then that team is not going to perform well with that kid that could be talented, and then next year is not going to have a customer, right? So at the end of the day, it's a fulfilled... Like,
that's a very good point, isn't it? You know, that team has got to perform to basically continue the cycle.
Yeah.
Well, this is why Cape Motorsport, a prime example. Everyone said, oh, you win when you go to Cape, right? And so they just won an extraordinary amount of junior. I mean, amazing team. Absolutely amazing.
Oriol, you made the point that, and we're talking A14 specifically here, but obviously this could be across the board as well, that you don't take anybody on. You know, you've got to basically take on drivers who you think will actually go places. You know, it's not a... It's something where you've got to spot the talent and nurture it. I mean, you look at A14, you've got it where you've got Gabriel Bortoleto. Basically, I mean, in the middle of the season when Sauber was on a roll, you've got it where, you know, the guy you're managing is going wheel to wheel with the boss. He's going wheel to wheel with Alonso. You've got it where you're taking, you know, maintaining momentum with Will Power's career. So are you basically, when are you first spotting a driver? How does that process of actually linking with a driver happen? And how do you make the decision that you will basically be involved in the management of a driver?
I'm only 1 year in, so I don't know yet how this works. I kind of inherit... I inherit the drivers we have. I brought Will Power. I'm learning. Again, I know the company doesn't want to grow a lot. Mm-hmm. We always want to keep this kind of like one-on-one. Like most times when one of my drivers is testing of the season, I try to be there, right? So you can only do so much. We'll see where the next young one is that we put an effort on. I'm very happy with the drivers we have right now, and we'll see. But
I mean, it's an interesting cross section. You've got guys like Daniel Juncadella, you know, a top guy in GTs. You got it where Maximilian Gunter, who I don't know how many seasons of Formula E he's done now.
Many, yeah.
But he's with DS Penske. He's winning races.
We just signed another driver at Formula E, Pepe Martí, who was in F2, won races with Red Bull.
Okay.
So we just signed him in Formula E in a good team.
Right.
Yep.
Well, year 2 then for Oriol Servia in A14. At some point, you will be absolutely key to bringing on new talent on board. Obviously, it's a safe pair of hands in terms of if anybody can recognise, you know, a driver who has got potential, it's Oriol Servia. So, are you looking forward to basically being the bloke who doesn't just nurture them, but actually does that initial connection?
I was paying attention to Super Nuts this last weekend, for example,
Right,
go-karting,
yeah.
right? You know, the next champions are going to come from there. So, and it's something, again, that the last 10 years I didn't pay attention because I was busy doing other things. Now, in my head, I'm like, no, I actually would be fun to find the next.
Yes.
And help them in the ways that I know, hey, if I can help them do less mistakes, not just driving on the path and where to put the energy on actually Bobby Rahal always used to say the champion is the one that manages distractions the best.
Right.
On the race weekend, on the off season, on the season, So any little bit we can help mold already a champion. For example, like Max Verstappen is someone that I find interesting in the sense that we all know comes from super DNA genes, right? You have Josh, who was an F1 driver, and what many people don't know is the mom. I saw her in a final in the World Go-Kart Championship in Zaragoza against Magnussen, against Jarno Trulli, against Fisichella. She was there in the final, Sophie Kumpen.
Yeah.
Right.
So this guy has genes like mega genes. And then we always see him super aggressive and almost like too much like Josh, in my opinion, like overly aggressive. But every time you listen to him, there's more to it. Mm-hmm. The guy thinks, the guy works. For example, I saw an interview just before the Brazil race. He went to do a podcast with Gabriel Bortoleto, with Christian Fittipaldi and Nelson Piquet. I don't know if you saw it. It's interesting. It's an interesting one. I thought was super interesting this part where they are asking him about go-karting.
Right.
Which we all like go-karting is what we all came from. We all love go-karts. They should get more love, go-karts in general. But no one's ever spoken anything bad about go-karts because, again, we all feel like it's almost saying anything bad about Ayrton Senna. Like, you can't. No, I'm sure the guy did some things that were not perfect too, right? But his point was, go-karts is great. It teaches you a lot. But nowadays, if you're trying to become a better race car driver of open wheel or GTs, you better be putting more time on sim racing than go-karts because they're so well done. They laser scan the racetracks. The car dynamics, the tire models, they're amazing. That's why he spends like as many hours as he can on it. And he does do some go-karting for fun. But I thought, like, dude, the guy thinks, I agree completely with what he said, and also he's got the bravery to say it. I mean, to me, it shows like he's more evolved than we give him credit for. Yeah. And I don't know how I got there so far from your question.
No, it's on point.
But to me, it says that he's got either the father, the mother, someone did a good job, and it's not just the talent. You need to like understand the amount of work, where to put it, and have the proper mental approach to the weekend, and it's not just genes. Yeah. So if we can help in some of the parts that is not just genes, that's the part we cannot do anything right, then it makes me happy.
Well, here's a point, and this is, you just raised it there, where Max Verstappen has basically said, make sure that you are, involved in sim racing. Okay, if you start in open wheel junior formula, you start where it's a limiting series in terms of how many people can afford to start there. There is a wider base for karting. There is a much wider base for being able to sort of, get into sim racing and work out how you then, make transitions into certain things. As a Spaniard, but more importantly, as a proud Catalan, explain to me this. And I think this is the same sort of thing where it's the size of the pool. How on earth does Spain manage to produce so many top-level MotoGP riders? And is it that same sort of thing where you are looking at a larger entry pool?
Yes and yes. It starts by, if you go to Barcelona, you better have your side mirrors and your like 4 eyes looking at them, because you're going to have 10,000 scooters around you all day. So since I was a kid, at my school, all my friends had little scooters and they were racing instead of going to school in the little back, like industrial, like whatever, it starts because we have a lot of motorcycles back home. Everyone is on a motorcycle. Starts with Angel Nieto winning third 12+1 world championships, which is like any other thing or sport. When your country has someone that is leading in the sport and it's on TV, you all want to be him. Same with tennis, right? We had in Spain, we always had good tennis players.
Yep.
I grew up watching them play. Well, it makes you want to grab a racket. So having someone that's at the very top in that, and then in a country where there's already lots of motorcycles, it's just, that's the combination. I mean,
it's cyclical, I think, isn't it? In terms of, like, we're still waiting for the next. There was a period where almost every great tennis player seemed to be American, and now there's no great American tennis players. No offense to some of the higher ranked people there, but Elf Fuels puts so many great French talents through Formula One, and then I think when Panis retired, there were no Frenchmen left in there. So I think it does go in cycles. I think between Hunt retiring and Mansell actually becoming a winner, Britain kind of
lost that.
The number of winners. So I think.
Everybody in the world gets a chance to kick a soccer ball. Says me using soccer for our American readers. But it's that thing where there isn't such a large pool. You could say the best driver in the world currently isn't competing in any form of competition. But maybe about to sort of steal a car in Dublin or something like that.
Trash truck driver.
But sim racing opens.
Yes,
that
exactly,
pool.
and that's the point you made, and the point Max makes as well. Suddenly, it's far, far, far wider.
Yeah. The only limiting factor Max has ever had, I feel, is that because he was so naturally talented, I feel like his feedback wasn't that good because he didn't have the vocabulary maybe to put into words what he was feeling to how to make the car better. Nope. I think now he's got experience of that. I just think he's just ridiculously unbeatable if you put him in a great car.
This point about sim racing, though, at some point you've got to make the transition where you are actually sat in something that moves. I guess there is still that sort of, leap of faith, leap of finance. There is still that, you can sort of like be the best sim racer in the world, but at some point you've got to kind of make it real. Just talk us through what you feel is the optimum way, say, of going from virtual to reality.
And it's a big leap. I'm not saying it's not, because you sweat differently, your body gets thrown differently, and it's not so much just the obvious thought of like, hey, if you crash in a sim, you just push a button and start again. That's them. And if you crash in real life, it's financial implications, and every time I hit a wall, even if you've done it enough times, the second you hit the wall, even if it's a safer wall, even if there's tires, the impact is harder than you expect half a second before. You're like, oh, when you hit. So there is that, and the sensibility that you develop when you're driving for real, right? The tire, even the smells, so there's things you add to it, but it's once you make that bridge, you have like a foundation model in your brain that is already learned. And when you get used to whatever dynamics, it kicks in. You know what to do. You're entering the corner and you have a little bit of the lock and you release the brake because you've been doing it on your sim over and over and over. So it just plugs in very well, but it is definite a leap, and you need to, solve it somehow. Going to Skip Barber, going to like getting some real time in a something that moves. It's definitely important. Yeah.
Since I'm in the mood for going off on tangents, Oriol, we've got you. We talked about Gabriel Bortoleto, one of the main figureheads, let's say, of the A14 stable at the moment, along with the likes of Will Power. What's your take on? We've been talking a lot about rookies. Give us your take on the Formula One rookie class of 2025. After years of a dribble of maybe one or two rookies, we've had a massive class of rookies in 2025, and we've seen some real sort of breakout weekends and some real breakout seasons. The likes of Kimi Antonelli, we've got Isaac Hadjar, we've got I guess Oliver Berman had a little bit of sort of previous, but we've also got Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yeah.
This seems to be an amazing season, and one where we've got it set up for this is a changing of the order in Formula One longer term.
They're coming more and better prepared, and I think I touched on it last time. We're seeing the first generation that's done a lot of sim racing, so they come very well prepared. It used to be that you did 15, 20 races a year, season after season. That's all you could do. Now you can do 15 races a day, where your brain gets used to. Even it's not just the driving, the exercise of I'm leading and the guy behind me is 3 seconds behind me, 2.5 seconds behind me, 2 seconds behind me. It's catching me half a second a lap. I have 5 laps left. I start sweating. Oriol, just focus on the next corner. Focus on the next corner. Oh, I crashed. I knew it. I look at the mirror. Okay, I have another race starting in an hour. I'm going to do it again. So they come so much better prepared, and they're super fast, and it's mega. Like, honestly, obviously I would pick Gabriel, but all of them have done amazing races, amazing season. Now is what we're talking about. Now, after they've learned what they've learned this year, how can they put it all together next year and be consistent and again, choosing the right tire when it counts, and telling the engineer what they need to tell the engineer, and not get flustered. And Hadjar, is he going to Red Bull? No, we don't know yet.
It hasn't been confirmed yet.
If Tsunoda crosses the Atlantic to go to Coin, then yeah, hopefully.
Well, that could be that. We've gone full circle here.
Oh, wow.
Pretty.
Do you have any rumors you want to tell us?
That's a rumor. It's
Really?
purely a rumor.
Well, Dave, putting you on the spot then, talk to us about Mick Schumacher as well then. What's going on there?
I don't know. It's all gone very quiet from my point of view, but I'm not the guy from RACER that's badgering them every day. I think Rahal have been very focused on getting their IMSA deal with the McLaren sorted out now that they've lost BMW. But, Graham, he's got 25,000 things going around in his head every day, but I'm sure nailing a great driver in that car is one of them. Maybe Devlin DeFrancesco will come back. I think he brings millions of reasons why he should come back, but Mick, I don't know, but I do. I think he showed a lot of promise, but I worried also that he might get in the car and just be underwhelmed by it, like Nico Hulkenberg was when he tested for what's now Arrow McLaren.
Thermal.
Barber, I think.
Barber.
Yeah, and he was way off the pace and just wasn't that impressed anyway, and didn't seem
It seemed to be a two-way, not quite impressed as well.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I think he was a second or a second and a half.
But Mick did well at the test, and I think he liked it. So hopefully it's a good story there. I think it would be great if it happens. I don't know any information, so I can talk about it because I don't know anything about it.
But
I
think he put his heart and soul into it in the same way that Alonso did when he tested at Barber for Andretti.
Yeah.
And I think he, from what I understand, I believe he set a time that would have put him in the Fast Six, which is strong.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fascinating so far with what we do know. When we catch up with Oriol next time, if we are sort of getting ready for a 2026 NTT IndyCar Series season where we are talking a rookie class, including Mick Schumacher, including Yuki Tsunoda. That is going to be an interesting one. So, Oriol, get yourself booked in. We will see you in a few weeks, and we will get set for the 2026 season as it moves ever closer.
I
can't wait.
I think whatever we say about, just to conclude on this, whatever we say about Romain Grosjean, I do believe the way he transitioned from F1 to IndyCar with Coin it's what we were saying earlier. He made Coyne believe in themselves again because of his performances, and it just took an exceptional driver, and I do believe Grosjean is, to do it. And I think that will encourage other people who maybe can't find the space in F1 anymore.
Same, by the way, with Alex Palou. When he came to Coyne, they did a podium, I think it was Elkhart. And
yes. Yeah, he turned out quite a good driver, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was okay. Yeah. He was okay. He wasn't, by the way, he wasn't Rookie of the Year in his first season with... I'd come up with all of these facts about, how guys like Kirkwood, guys like Palou, guys like Pato, guys like Colton weren't Rookies of the Year.
Right.
But that's kind of maybe...
Who was Rookie of the Year in 2020? I can't remember.
I've got a piece of paper. I got a second.
2020.
I don't want this to be the sort of damp squib ending to the episode, but in 2019, Felix Rosenqvist was Rookie of the Year. We had O'Ward running a partial season. We had Colton finishing 7th in points, but winning twice.
Yes.
We had it where Kyle Kirkwood... Well, actually, that was a pretty good rookie class because Christian Lundgaard was Rookie of the Year when Kyle Kirkwood wasn't. But
so 2020 was who?
2020 Rookie of the Year was a guy called Rinus VK who basically outscored a guy called Alex Palou. So.
Oh, there's another example of. It's just made me think of another example of a driver that deserves 2 years. I thought Christian Rasmussen, I thought was terrible in his rookie season. Like he hit everything that moved, and then last year, of course, he became a race winner and was fantastic. And he has fabulous car control, as we all knew. But all these rookies deserve a second year. I hope Jacob Abel can find himself a space somewhere.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Carpenter actually.
Yes,
and they deserve a good year. They showed some speed. And I know they keep making changes internally.
But stability with the driver lineup.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I mean, how actually?
If I was Ed Carpenter,
I'm now adding a little bit onto the episode because this is interesting. What did Alexander Rossi bring to ECR, and what did ECR do? I mean, basically, was 2025 the year when ECR stopped being an oval team that also competes on road courses, and did they become sort of like the more rounded, the bigger picture team in?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit unfair because I think Reno's already showed they were more than an oval team.
Yeah.
I think it just shows how hard it is to be competitive in a consistent way in the championship. It's just you cannot have any weak areas, spots, tracks, engineering. Like it's tough. It's tough business. That's what it's so good.
I've already thanked Oriol once and said we'll see him again in a few weeks. Yeah. Any other tangents go on before I thank him again and shut down the episode, Dave?
No, because our producer's been waving at us to shut the hell up for a long time now. About 15 minutes ago, he gave us the 5-minute sign. So.
Well, in that case, then that was the RACER debrief. We'll see Oriol before the season kicks off. Join us again next week.